do this. Big smile. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to a very special episode of That Blind Tech Show. We're very excited for two reasons. One, we're scooping New Zealand on this. At least we think we are, because we're hoping we'll get this out before New Zealand does. They're used to unboxing everything first. And two, it's funny, Jeff, it's only 60 degrees in New York, but it's freezing outside because the Amazon Prime Video app hit the Apple TV.
Yeah, I knew something happened because I woke up today with 0 degrees in Minnesota. So I knew something happened for it to be this cold.
You know, I guess I was the one who said it'll be, I don't know if hell will freeze over first or the app will come out. And
Not once. You said that more than once.
Well, I've been wanting it for so long because, you know, the only other way I personally had to play Amazon Prime Video was on my iPhone, and the speakers weren't great. So I've been waiting to watch all the great described content they have on Amazon Prime Video until I had something that I would play with great speakers. So I was very excited when you called me to let me know that it's a cold day out because the Amazon Prime Video app is finally here.
I'm glad you said I called and didn't just give you a nudge.
No, you called me, but we didn't bother to nudge Allison because, you know, she's got a day job and she actually does something. So we're recording this without Allison, but we're thinking of you.
Wouldn't that be nice not to have to do anything? But when you get into your Apple TV, go to the App Store and search for Prime Video. Do not type in Amazon. It will not give you anything. That was quite confusing at first.
Well, it's funny because when you told me, you know, to look for Prime Video, I went to my Apple TV and I went to the App Store, and I went ahead to use the handy dandy Siri and say Prime Video, and you know what it put in? Prime.
Prime.
Yeah, there's Siri understanding what I said. So luckily the handy dandy keyboard had popped up on my iPhone, and I went old school, deleted the second Prime, then typed video. It came right up. I downloaded it. But the funny thing was, I must have forgotten that months ago I downloaded an Amazon app that appeared on the Apple TV because I got logged into that. Then I pulled it up and I'm like, wait a minute, why is it telling me about dog biscuits? That's not a television show.
Mm-hmm. That's the Amazon shopping app. You got to watch out for that one.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm looking all over. I'm like, where's Prime? And then I remembered you said it's called Prime Video again. So I closed out of the Amazon app, and sure enough, 2 apps over was the all-new Prime Video app. And now, did you have any difficulties logging into the app?
No, not really. It pretty much does it itself until it told me I needed to get the code. Then I had to go back to my phone, log in to amazon.com/mytv, get into there, and then it said punch in these numbers, and I did that, and there I was.
Well, that's interesting. We had 2 different experiences logging in because I didn't have to use any codes or anything. I hit sign in to my Amazon account, and what was funny was it pulled up other email addresses, I guess, associated with just my, I'm assuming, Apple ID, because it had like every email address except the one I used for my Amazon Prime account. But the keyboard was pulled up on the iPhone, which makes the typing experience on the Apple TV much nicer. I typed in my, I guess, Amazon email address, then my password, logged in. And then I was prompted to create a code in case I want to buy anything. And one thing I did notice about creating that code, there is 0 tactic feedback of any kind. So I would type in a number, you have to enter a 4-digit code, and I wasn't even sure the codes were typing. So I went and I cleared everything, and then I just typed the 4-digit code. Sure enough, it was typing because it popped up, re-enter your code. And I did that again, and then I was good to go. Then I got the next message, which was, would you like the link? And this was really nice because you can't do it with Netflix. And it said, would you like to link the Amazon Prime Video app to your Apple TV app? And, of course, I hit continue, and then I was off and running with Amazon app.
Mine was just a little bit different. It said that I had to do like dual verification or something. So I got sent to my phone, and then I had to go to the website. But it was easy enough because once it punched in, it just lit up. You know, it's just I was there. Then I started wondering about audio description. Did that transfer over? Because by default on my Apple TV, I have it turned on. And so I was curious about that. That's when we got on the phone.
Yeah, just because the app was here, we didn't know. Because, for example, on the TiVo, I could get all of the great Amazon Prime content, but I can't get the described video feeds. So that was something that I was curious about as well. Robert Kingent was the first person I saw who wrote a blog entry about this, and I'm glad he did because things aren't exactly labeled very well. That's something I'm sure they'll fix. This is a 1.0 release. Do you want to run through the directions that we read?
Well, I just turned on Bosch because I know it has audio description, and then I paused it as Kingent's letter said, and then I swiped down and I came to audio.
You do a one-finger double tap on that, and then that's when the fun comes. Luckily, like I said, thanks to Robert, he discovered this. You actually have to flick down twice. There's a second US audio, and it doesn't mention anything about described video.
Yeah, it says English US, and then if you swipe down, it says English US again. So the second one, I did that, and poof. All right, I'm Jeff Thompson, and I'm live at the scene of the installation here. Let's see what we got.
TV, Netflix, Prime Video.
There we are.
Search 1 of 9, Home 2 of 9, Originals 3 of 9, Movies 4 of 9, TV 5 of 9, Kids 6 of 9, Video Library 7 of 9, Watchlist 8 of 9, Settings 9 of 9, Settings, Prime Video tab. Use the direction pad to move between options. Press Select to choose. Buying tab. Deregister your device tab. Parental Controls tab. Legal Notices tab. Feedback tab. Renting tab. Main menu. Setting. Banner advert. Watch next. Spare parts. Age rate. Bosch Season 3. Loading. Bosch. Season 3. Episode 10. The Seat. Bosch. Season 3. Resume button. Play from beginning button. Episodes tab. Customers also watched tab. Cast tab. Bosch. Bosch see in progress. Use left and right to navigate video controls. Paused. Media controls.
So now I'm just going to swipe down.
Hot menu. Selected. Info. Tab. 1 of subtitles. Tab. 2 of 3. Audio. Selected. Tab. 3 of 3. Language. Selected. English. U.S.
Now
1 of 2.
I go one down more.
English. U.S. Button. 2 of 2.
And I hit that.
Select media controls. Playing.
Later they approach the house. A Christmas tree stands in the living room, where Eleanor lies on the sofa. Ho, ho, ho.
Mom,
Maddie hugs Eleanor.
we weren't supposed to be here until Christmas.
And there you have it.
Media controls.
Now, if I hit pause and swipe down once,
Hide menu. Selected. Audio. Tab. 3 of 3.
swipe down again.
Sound. Full dynamic range. Language. English. U.S.
Down
Button.
one more.
1 of selected. English. U.S. Button. 2 of 2.
So there you have it. Well, that wraps it up for me, Brian. Back to the show. You know, the next question was, does this transfer across to another show? And you gave that a try.
Yeah, because I was concerned that, oh, don't tell me I'm going to have to do this for every single show I watched. And like I said, I've just tested this out once, and so don't be surprised if maybe this didn't work, because what I did was I tested it out with one show that I knew had audio description. Of course, I'm blanking on the title already of the show. Then what I did was I went to Bosch secondly, because I started watching the very first episode of Bosch while I was down in Florida on my iPhone, and I started it playing, and of course it was a scene where I'm like, you got to be kidding me. There's no audio, but it was a scene where there had yet to be any audio description. Sure enough, in a few seconds it started playing, but interestingly enough, the show started playing where I had left off watching the show 2 weeks ago on my iPhone. So that was nice to see that your shows and your content will sync up across devices as well.
Really like that when it goes to all your devices, because there's certain situations like you're watching something while you're traveling or something, then you get home and you want to watch something and you come to it and it says resume and you go, oh yeah, I left off right here. So that's really a nice feature.
A good buddy of mine, a sighted person, had told me that I need to watch Sneaky Pete. Unfortunately, Sneaky Pete doesn't have any described video, so what's going on, Amazon? You're doing a good job, but you got to release all of your original content with described video. So it looks like you have to really pick and choose. And that was one thing I noticed when I was going through my list of shows. Everything would say closed caption, but there is no mention whether or not a show has described video. So it really looks like it's hit or miss. You might have to start playing a show just to learn if it has described video. Or I think the ADP project does have a website where they do have a section of all of Amazon shows that do air. That's the ADP project. If you go ahead and do a Google search for that, they do have a list of all of Netflix shows with described video, and I know they have a section for Amazon, and they do list all of Amazon shows that do have described video.
On Netflix, it's really nice because when I open the app on my iPhone, I can go all the way down at the bottom, and there's audio description right there, and it'll populate with about 50 videos, whatever they got going there.
But the great thing is, if Netflix has an original program, I've yet to find an original program on Netflix that doesn't have described video, where with the Amazon Prime Video, it's really hit or miss which programs. The Man in the High Castle, that was the program I couldn't remember. I know Allison told me she was very upset because the first season of The Man in the High Castle has described video, and this may have changed since then, but she did tell me the second season of The Man in the High Castle did not have audio description, which that would infuriate me because you get through a show and you want to move to the next season. So that's something Amazon really has to improve on. Your go-to thing, Audio Description Project, that's a website, like I said, that they update monthly. And I don't even look at Netflix anymore to see what has described video. I just look at that website to learn if something has described video because it's kind of an all-in-one shop right there. When I was down in Florida, I wanted to see if the Star Wars movie Rogue One had described video. So I pulled up the website, went to Netflix, and that's in alphabetical order. So everything is very easy to find. The great news was Rogue One did have described video. I watched the movie with my mom and dad. Possibly the worst movie I've ever seen.
It's out of this world. Huh?
Just because something has described video doesn't make it good. But I'll tell you what, if somebody out there likes the movie Rogue One, hit us up at thatblindtechshow@gmail.com. Tell us why you liked it, or tweet us in @blindtechshow. My dad and I were like, do we have to keep watching this? And my mom, she kept making us watch it, so we ended up seeing the whole thing. And I think in the movie there may have been 12 lines of dialogue, and everything else was just described video. Well, this is very exciting. We're going to keep this short. Very excited that the Amazon Prime Video app has finally hit the Apple TV, because we just mentioned even on the last show that is it ever going to come out? And there was no notice, no mention of this or anything. It just wham bam, thank you, ma'am, was all of a sudden there.
Well, if you think back, Downcast actually beat it because they did have an upgrade.
That's true. We did pose that question on a show. What'll happen first?
But the HomePod is not even on the map yet.
No. And the funny thing was, I saw an article yesterday that said Apple actually created the HomePod before the Amazon Echo. And I'm like, well, that's great, but the Amazon Echo physically exists and the HomePod doesn't. So who cares?
I have a dream.
I have an idea for a giant dinosaur that'll sit outside your window and read audio description to you. So if anybody comes up with that, I thought of it first.
Yeah, the Read Rex.
As soon as we stop recording, I am calling up the patent office and patenting the Read Rex. And we should mention, you do have to have an Amazon Prime membership to get this content. I don't know. Do they have a subscription where you could just get Amazon Prime Video and not be an Amazon Prime subscriber?
I doubt it. There's a catch to all this. They'll get you. I got Prime, and I've had Prime, and I use it enough that I really benefit. And I really would suggest people to get it because it works really well, especially when you want to listen to music like on your Amazon device or something like that. But I found one thing out that kind of irritates me. I'll ask for a specific song and they'll say, here's a sample, and they'll play a little snippet of it, and they say, if you want the entire library, you can pay like $3.99 or more a month on top of Prime. So that goes along with their Prime for $3.99.
I do
so
that.
I'm just wondering about these videos. I just wonder if these videos that we're watching now, if they're going to start a new layer, like if you want all the Prime videos, you got to pay an extra $3.99 a month. Prime videos.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. One thing, what I love about the music is I was an Apple Music subscriber for $9.99 a month. Problem was, I never listened to music. So the only time I really listen to music is when I have some people over and we're having a few cocktails, adult beverages. It's great because the echo's in my living room, and for $3.99 a month, I could play anything. So we would just sit here and play the great music like the Rocky IV soundtrack or Never Surrender from the 80s or the theme from the Karate Kid.
Wax on, wax off.
Anyway, we're going to keep this kind of short. We are That Blind Tech Show, giving you the first unboxing, scooping New Zealand for the Amazon Prime Video app on the Apple TV. You can get our show through your favorite podcast player. We are part of the Blind Abilities Podcast Network. You can download the Blind Abilities Podcast app. And Jeff, I'm going to leave you with this last word. When is Blind Abilities going to be having an app come to the Apple TV?
Actually, the podcast app, which is native to all the Apple devices, if you subscribe to Blind Abilities, that's 2 words, Blind Abilities, then it'll populate in your podcast app. All the podcasts that you subscribe through iTunes will show up in the podcast app on any of your devices.
Yeah. So many places to listen to our show with the latest, greatest breaking information, even though we are not a breaking information
But
show.
we are the latest, greatest.
And for now, we are out.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations and the realities of blind abilities.
The realities of blind
abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, Blind Abilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.